It's a book you can get on some of this stuff that I'm about to talk about. There's a book you can get dealing with the history of the so-called cowboys. And I say so-called because a lot of the stories about the cowboys have been kind of like plagiarized and turned into some form of a playwright to make you think that at one point in the U.S. there was just a bunch of cowboys running around shooting up Indians or whatever it may have you. This whole mythology of cowboys really goes back to a group of people that control land and decided to take matters into their own hands and begin to so-called police the land and begin to control the land, because this is how America, I guess, essentially became civilized, or became basically arrived at the state to where it's at now. But what they don't tell you is that during the history of the cowboys, if you research it, and I had a really good book on it actually, they had many accounts of UFOs, many accounts. Seeing UFO, I'm talking about way back in the 1800s. Seeing UFOs and seeing planes that flew. You have to ask yourself this: how were they able to see this when there were supposedly no flying objects at the time? And if it was plagiarized, why would someone spend so much money to go out their way to plagiarize these stories? You gotta ask yourself that. Even if it was plagiarized, why would they spend so much money? It's because it's not plagiarized at all. It's because history is actually, we're just caught in what's called like a vacuum of time, a time vacuum. And history is doing nothing but cycling back and forth, and essentially history is repeating itself over and over again. So the stories about the cowboys and the stories about the UFOs that the cowboys seen in the 1800s, then you notice that there's a gap to about maybe 1940, and then that's when you start to hear about the Roswell crash. The reason for this gap is because of the fact that in between time, in between the 1800s and in 1947, essentially what they were doing is wiping out humans. That's right, wiping out humans, cloning them, and replacing the human species or the human population. And from my research, between the time of 1880, I say between the time of like 1860 and up to about 1947, they wiped out humans at least 6 times. That's right, 6 times. I'm going to go into this in a series of videos. So everything that you hear about as far as with humans and the history of humans between that time period has been plagiarized. Any history that you read about has been plagiarized, and they're hiding and covering the truth. The truth of the matter is that they're cloning humans with aliens and alien blood, and they lie to you about your ancestry and your origins. And what's going to happen is, essentially over time, they're going to try to do it again. That's what this virus is about. So if we're not careful, we're going to be wiped out and replaced again, and our history is going to be removed again by these aliens that, mind you, are working with humans too. And these aliens and these humans are living 200 and 300 years. Because they're lying to you about how long you can live. They're lying to you about a lot of stuff because they know that if they can program these ideas in your mind and get you to believe these ideas, then guess what? You're going to play these ideas out. Because they know that this earth and this planet is a canvas or a play or a stage. And you essentially create everything that you see. So it's important, extremely important, that over time you begin to study the history between 1800s going up until 1947. Because when you study that, you're going to find out. Study your ancestors too. Study your grandparents. And if your grandparents weren't from Africa or Asia or something like that, or from outside of the United States, then their history is warped. Now, this didn't take place in China or Africa or places like that, so I'm not saying that what I'm speaking on was occurring all over the planet. I'm saying that this is an isolated incident of a story about Atlantis that's now carried over into America, and America is the new Atlantis. So I'm going to come back up shortly with a part 2 and go into some more of the technology. But I just wanted to point out that time gap. Don't let them lie to you. We are in a warp, and there's an architect behind this. They call them the Illuminati, or the elite group of people behind this that are manipulating humans living on the surface, and they're not teaching you the full truth. This is why you have underground pyramids, and this is why you find, like I was talking to a friend of mine, and they said that in the desert they found some type of megalith that was over 12 feet long in the desert, right? And they found this somewhere in the Sahara Desert, somewhere in Arizona or Colorado, I'm not sure where it was at. But this megalith disappeared, right? A couple days later, they found a megalith that was 12 feet high in the sand of the ocean that they never found, and it disappeared. This planet is magical, man. You gotta study it. We are not what we think we are. We are exotic beings. We're composed of exotic matter. You're on the earth right now, you're composed of exotic matter. Very key. The only way that you're gonna shift your existence is if you learn how to activate your Merkaba and begin to transform, the molecules and the matter within your body, so that you can begin to experience an exotic incarnation, so that you can activate your higher senses: telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, psychometry, being able to read minds. You have an internet built in within you, and this is where they got it from. And even if you were cloned with these aliens, you have an advanced strand of DNA in you, and it's important that you activate it. If you don't, then eventually the aliens are going to turn in on you. So I'll talk about some remedies in the future. Stay vigilant, stay wise, keep it moving. Namaste.